Okay, so if we're going to rule the Seven Kingdoms, we need to do so effectively. The Targaryens lost their empire and their dynasty because of ineffective leadership from Aerys. And so my goal as the new king of the Iron Throne is, I guess I'm not a new king, but I'm finally at peace and have the ability to make some of these decisions that I didn't before. The number one goal is to restore peace to the entire Seven Kingdoms, the entire continent of Westeros, so to speak. And so I've kind of taken some time to outline some of these goals and try to figure out exactly what it is that we're going to do. And so I'll explain that to you. This episode is going to kind of change how this playthrough goes, because we're going to do much less sort of long-winded clips. We're going to do more fast cuts just because there's going to be a lot less happening, I think anyways. That's kind of how I envision this going. So it'll be a lot more jump cuts. Let me know if that's not sort of your style or how you want to see this, but really we're going to kind of highlight the interesting things, and since we're not at war and moving armies and have things going on constantly, there's going to be a little bit more time in between how everything goes. So with that said, we're actually going to start taking a look at how we're going to build our kingdom. So let's zoom out here and take a look at how everything is going right now. So the Vale, the Trident, and the Reach are still as independent right now. They're still looking that way, only because of the mega war system that the Game of Thrones mod has, and realistically once they finish with their wars, it looks like Robert the Bold's fighting Jan Royce, and it looks like Peter Baelish is still fighting also Jan Royce, and in Highgarden Mace Tyrell is fighting William Withers, and actually he's losing this war, and so he may actually get usurped and have to give way to Willis Tyrell, and which actually wouldn't be that bad because Mace he has a negative opinion of me because I commanded him to end his war, and I actually branded him a traitor, I believe, in the last episode. And Willis actually has a positive opinion of us, and actually would be a more effective leader in my opinion. Anyways, so what we have is the mega war system going on hasn't ended because their independent wars have not ended, and so that's why they're still kind of flagged as independent for the moment. But while we're dealing with that, I just want to kind of outline the issues that I've run into and how I plan to deal with them. So the biggest issue right now is Peter Baelish is the Lord Paramount of the Trident right now. He actually has the kingdomship of the Trident, and as you know, in the last episode we actually had to fight a war against Peter. He doesn't like us. He's ambitious. He's Littlefinger, so how can you trust him in the first place? And so wants to rule the Iron Throne, essentially, is his goal. And actually it's outlined right here in black and white. He wants to rule the Iron Throne. And so I really need to do everything I can to upset the Baelish house from the Trident. So I need to figure out who I'm going to give the Trident to. And actually, I encountered this and how I want to do this in one of the earlier episodes when we first took King's Landing, and I had to give one of the castles to a vassal of mine. And actually, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Marbrand, there it is, right here. Castle of the King's Gate went to Lorimus Mud, and it's a command, so it's not really inheritable by anybody. It's going to refer to me or whatever, but it'll eventually go to his son. I'll keep it in House Mud, but if you don't know, historically in Westeros, actually like way before the events of Aegon's conquest and all that kind of stuff, the kings of the Trident was actually House Mud, and so historically they ruled from Old Stones, which is a ruin at the moment. So what we have the potential to do is reclaim Old Stones and convert it into an actual county to grant to House Mud, and then we would usurp the Kingdom of the Trident and hopefully Harrenhal from Baelish and give it to them. Let them reclaim their ancestral seat. Now, I don't really anticipate that that's going to happen too soon, so if we have the opportunity to usurp the Kingdom of the Trident and Harrenhal, we'll go ahead and give that to House Mud, and then start working on reclaiming Old Stones as their ancestral seat. So that's what's going to happen with the Trident, is it's going to go to House Mud. The other issue that we've encountered was the Stormlands, and I had thought at some point, oh, I should give that to Varys because he's been a loyal person, and I just completely forgot that one of the biggest aspects of who Varys is that he's a eunuch and has no opportunity to produce heirs or anything like that. So I awarded him a royal house and a last name and brought him up to nobility, but we really don't have the opportunity to give him any sort of kingdoms or lands to hold, because as soon as he dies they go right back to me, so there's no point in doing that. But I did recall that there's been one particular person who has historically held a seat in the Stormlands, and who has been a very big supporter of House Targaryen from the beginning, and who helped Aegon's wife in this Let's Play, which is Dany, be protected from her enemies in Meereen. And I actually went and found this character. Right here. He's actually a Justicar in Smallwood, and would accept an invitation to our court. And so one of the things that we're going to do, he's actually possessed and stressed, but he actually has a daughter who's at court in the Great Pyramid of Meereen. He took Eerie, actually. Oh Lord, one of the Dothraki handmaidens of Daenerys as his wife, has a daughter. And so why wouldn't we reward Barristan the Bold with a castle, first of all? So we're going to invite him to court. We're actually going to give him the castle of Storm's End, and we're going to give him the kingdom of the Stormlands. He's going to be Lord Paramount Barristan the Bold of Storm's End. And so that sort of squares away all of that. The other issue, and sort of the prevailing issue, and one that I'm not 100% sure on how I'm going to deal with yet, is the North. Currently, right now, Roose Bolton rules actually from the Lonely Hills, which is very ironic. The Dreadfort is actually ruled by a Mormont man. And so I'm not 100% sure how I want to deal with this, because Winterfell is a ruin, so we would need to actually raise it from being a ruin. White Harper is also a ruin, and then there's also Oldcastle, which is under the control of a sellsword infantry. And the North just got all screwed up, basically, is the easiest way that I can say that. The North got all screwed up because of the White Walker invasion. There is not a single house that should be here. Even House Reed is gone. The Neck is ruled by House Sables. All of these are brand new characters who were just kind of auto-generated to fill the void after the White Walker invasion finishes. The Tall Hearts are actually, they're supposed to be there, but there's a lot of houses that just shouldn't. And even Bear Island is ruled by House Sables, which is ironically the same house that's down here, but a different sigil. So I really, it's all kinds of messed up. And so the hope is that we would eventually be able to break through sort of all of this. Skagos looks unaffected, but we'd be able to break through all of this sort of ridiculousness that is the North, and be able to kind of sort it out. I had a thought maybe I should give it to Jorah Mormont for his help with Dany. I just don't know how that's possible at the moment. I don't see a way that we can make that sort of happen, because we'd have to take the Kingdom of the North from Roose Bolton. Roose doesn't hate us, so he's actually, okay for right now to stay up there. I don't want him to continue to stay up there. Has no heirs. I will eventually inherit once he's gone, unless there's something happens, his ugly wife produces an heir for him, but I don't anticipate that happening. But we would get all of those titles, and then we can sort of figure it out. So I'm really not going to make any moves immediately right there, in terms of acquiring the North and a lordship up there to be able to give to whoever I decide to give the Kingdom of the North to. If you have suggestions, leave them down in the comments. Of course, I'll take those into account. I read all your comments and all that kind of stuff. So, so that's kind of the plan for the Seven Kingdoms right now. Dorne is unaffected and looks okay. I don't really like Lannisters being over here, but they're ancestral, so why would I mess with it? Their 10-year-old ruler doesn't really hate me, and really the only reason he does is because of all the high lordships and stuff that I hold, which will sort itself out and he'll actually be okay with me. So I'm not super concerned right there about taking care of the Lannisters. And then the other thing that we're going to do is eventually we're going to take back over the Iron Islands. And Iron King Euron is actually incapable at the moment. And so I'm not exactly sure what happened with him. But I did want to show you, as I was looking through all of this, I stumbled upon one character who is just incredible. And it's a canon character, and I'm sure a lot of you are big fans and would enjoy this. So, Lord Victarion of the Iron Islands is a captain of a sellsword infantry. He has all of his normal. He's favored by R'hllor, and he's a dragon rider. He actually rides Viserion into battle. Doesn't like me, obviously. Because he's favored by R'hllor and all the religion stuff that he has. He's had 3 wives. One of them, 17-year-old, died in childbirth. Very unlucky. Selyse died of a pox, and then the first wife was murdered by him. Anyways, so there's... I can't even describe to you how insane this is, that he ended up as a dragon rider. He's obviously has sympathy for the dragon god, but favored by R'hllor. Just a bad character, just so good. It's insane. And so he actually is fairly close to us, I think. He's in Volantis. And I don't think he would accept an invitation to our court now. But it would be really awesome to just depose Euron and put Victarion up there. It'd probably lead to more issues for me because he's a dragon rider and all that kind of stuff. So anyways, that is the plan as it stands right now. The first thing that we're going to do while we're here, though, is we're going to do some personal things. So as you can see, we have crossed the age 30 mark. This is what we look like. Daenerys is 30 as well. She's still ruling from Meereen. I would like to eventually get her to come back to Westeros and abandon Meereen, but I don't think that's going to happen. We have our heir, who's actually really, really good. He's a genius, who's attractive. He's got timid, which isn't great, but we can actually turn that into humble, which is fine. He's patient. What I'm going to do, first of all, is bring him to me as his instructor. Obviously, they'll accept that. As his guardian so that he can be trained up. I am actually not that great of a fighter. I'm a great commander and have a very high learning, so as a mentor I'll be just fine. So that's the first thing that we're going to do, is we're going to bring Prince Aemon here. Prince Aegon right now hasn't had the event, the Targaryen event. He's only 4 years old. He does have attractive, so we'll see what he ends up with our with the roll of the dice, so to speak, on whether he'll be a lunatic, he'll be quick, or have those congenital traits that are Targaryen specific because of that dice roll. But one of the first things that we're going to do is we're going to open the treasury and we're going to equip a crown, because right now we're wearing the Crown of Majesty, which is a little more ornate than I would like to go through. I really like Maekar's crown, and I really like Aegon III's crown. I think what we're going to end up doing is we're actually going to where is it? We're going to unequip this crown, and we're going to equip Aegon III's crown. We're going to take on a crown of humility, a simple gold band, unornamented, and just we're really going to embrace this sort of humility that I believe the Targaryens lacked early or later on in the first dynasty. So we're going to plan on building a dynasty that's founded on humility, seeking peace, and hopefully long term we'll have a Targaryen dynasty that lasts longer than the first one did and is built on a more healthy relationship with the Seven Kingdoms. So King Aegon the 6th will be wearing King Aegon the Third's crown, which is very simple. Maekar's crown looks great, but it is very very Maekar, I guess, in terms of Maekar the Cruel, and in how he was, this warlord and all that kind of stuff. So we won't be wearing that crown. We'll be wearing Aegon the Third's crown. So that's one of the first things that we're going to do, and we also need to choose a focus, because right now we have the war focus. We've had it since the beginning, pretty much since we were 18 years old. It has now been 14 years since we chose a focus, and so we're able to choose a new one. And I think the smartest thing for us to do is for us to choose the business focus, because we have a little bit of money to spend. And a lot of the events that you get with the business focus actually require you to have some money, but they have high return on investment. And so with the debt that the crown has right now to the Iron Bank that we need to pay back, with us wanting to reacquire Old Stones and get that back from a ruin to an actual colony, and also Winterfell and hopefully Summerhall at some point, we're going to need a lot of money. It's 1,000 to colonize any ruin. Old Stones is obviously first, Winterfell is second, and then Summerhall is third, but I hope that we're able to do all of those things. So have a little bit of money to invest. Hopefully we get a high reward. We're going to go ahead and choose the business focus. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and press play, because we haven't even advanced a single day in this Let's Play yet, or in this episode yet. And I'm going to see when Barristan gets here and sort out all of that kind of stuff whenever he does. So we'll check back in just a second. Okay, so I have awarded Sir Barristan the Bold with the Castle of Storm's End. So he's now the Lord of Storm's End, and I'm going to award him the High Lordship of Shipbreaker's Bay, which is all this kind of stuff. I'll let him sort of manage all of that. And he's got the High Lordship now, and then I'm going to award him the Kingdom of the Stormlands, including all the lower titles, all that kind of stuff, and let him take those vassals away from me. And I'll kind of try to have to sort out the vassals, I think. Oh, good, that takes away that we were over our vassal limit for like 12 years. And so we have Sir Barristan the Bold. Let's exit out of this and refresh his character page. There we go, Sir Barristan the Bold. We're going to recall our Master of Coin and actually take him up to King's Landing to collect taxes. Let's move him up there. Come on. Okay. Where is it? Master Coin, recall, send back out right there. We need to appoint a new Hand of the King. I was hoping to be able to avoid this before the Mega War fiasco ended, but Denny Strong is he's a riverman. He's a courtier right now, not really a ruler, so I don't know if I want to peg him, but he does have the highest stewardship, so actually I will for right now until Mega War ends. We're going to have him oversee the realm. That actually brings our tax income for King's Landing up to 27, which is great. We were getting like 31 with Storm's End, so now that we're missing that, and we actually don't have Rain House anymore either, I think that went to Barristan.